side effect of the global coronavirus pandemic, robocalls are down, and we're not hearing too many complaints about that. Welcome to CNN 10, I'm Carl Azus. Any phone call that features a recorded message instead of an actual person is a robocall. It could be a reminder to make a payment, refill a prescription, or vote for a political candidate. It could be an illegal attempt to sell you something or to scam you out of money for things like fake coronavirus tests. But with international call centers shut down because of COVID-19 and with governments trying to prevent scams related to the disease, robocalls dropped 40% between February and April, according to a U.S. robocall prevention service. But the head of UMail says he expects a lot of these calls to be ringing again by the end of the summer as social distancing rules are relaxed and businesses come back online. There's a lot of tension in the United States and beyond about when, where, and how to reopen areas that have been shut down. Businesses that have seen zero revenue for 6 weeks or more have still had to pay their rent and taxes, and some have continued to pay their employees. People who've been laid off haven't been able to earn a living, and they have bills of their own that are stacking up. On the other side of that are concerns that allowing stores to reopen too soon and allowing people to gather in large numbers again could lead to more coronavirus cases and deaths. So there's no one clear answer that economists, health officials, and workers agree on when it comes to lifting lockdowns. Italy was once the epicenter of COVID-19 cases in Europe. When we produced this show, it had seen more deaths from the disease than any other country on the continent. And the plight of a pizzeria in Naples is one example of a large-scale struggle.
Dario is busy, busier than he's been in more than 50 days. Monday, Italy's nationwide lockdown was eased, and L'Antica Pizzeria da Michele is now back in business, but only for takeaway and home delivery. A year ago, the restaurant would be full and there'd be maybe 20 people waiting outside, Dario tells me. It was here that Julia Roberts ate pizza and Eat, Pray, Love. But today, she'd have to do her eating outside. This pizzeria opened 150 years ago. In that time, it stayed open during a cholera epidemic and the entire Second World War. It only shut its doors when coronavirus came to town. Now Napolitani can be reunited with their beloved pizza, which local lore insists was invented here. Giuliano and Francesca got by on homemade pizza during the lockdown, but it just wasn't the same. For us Napolitani, to go without pizza for this long is almost impossible, says Giuliano. Bruno is happy to get his pizza again, but worries people, especially the young, are letting down their guard. Everyone is together, he says. It's more dangerous now than a month ago, as far as I'm concerned. But the pizza's getting cold, so goodbye. This pizzeria has been in the same family for 5 generations. Closure came at a high cost. It was depressing, says Sergio Condurro. We have 17 workers, which means 17 families. And then there are producers of tomatoes and flour and mozzarella. Lockdown created pockets of poverty. Now some stomachs and pockets can be filled again.
10-second trivia. What is the oldest state capital in the United States? Richmond, Virginia, Boston, Massachusetts, Sacramento, California, or Santa Fe, New Mexico? Santa Fe was established by the Spanish in 1610, making it the oldest state capital in the country. The state of New Mexico is also home to Spaceport America, a takeoff and landing site for spacecraft that opened in 2011. The facility has seen its share of delays, setbacks, and criticism since then. Its $220 million cost has been funded by taxpayers, and one of the main reasons for building it was to accommodate space tourism, and that hasn't taken off yet. This is now one of several spaceports that have been built in the United States. Critics say there are now more of these facilities than there is business for them, but there was a successful test flight at Spaceport America last week. Virgin Galactic, which is the main tenant there, completed an unpowered flight of its Spaceship Two vehicle, and that was seen as another step toward space tourism.
The future of travel could take place here, someday. This is Spaceport America in New Mexico, a place where you can buy a ticket for a future ride to space.
And liftoff.
For decades, NASA has dominated the space industry, but over the last 10 years or so, entrepreneurs like Sir Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Amazon's Jeff Bezos have injected billions into the field. They're looking to make space travel commercial.
I think it's important.
We want to make space accessible to everyone. That would be the ultimate dream.
Virgin Galactic plans to shuttle customers into suborbital space for $250,000 each, and they plan to do it from a facility like this. They're not alone. X-Core Aerospace, Worldview also have plans to send people to space. But the tourism industry is just one part of commercializing space. Economists who study the field say the real moneymaker will be something called point-to-point travel. Imagine traveling by spaceplane from London to Singapore in an hour, or from Los Angeles to London in a couple of hours. These ships, once they're tested and approved, could be the Concorde of the 21st century, zipping people and packages around the globe ultra-fast. Innovating for the future of travel is a huge task and will take time. Point-to-point is still in its infancy, and commercial space tourism has yet to find its legs. And there are setbacks along the way. Virgin Galactic, a company considered by many to be leading the pack in commercial space tourism, suffered a major setback during a test flight. One of their space planes, flying over the Mojave, came apart, killing one pilot and injuring another. As it grows, the commercial space industry is having to overcome some of the same issues its predecessors like NASA faced: fire, explosions, and losses of life. But those leading the way, like Virgin's Branson, say despite the challenges and setbacks, they too are enduring. They will push ahead.
In the early days of aviation, there were incidents, and then aviation became very safe. We're going to learn from what went wrong, discover how we can improve safety and performance, and then move forwards together.
There are 9 spaceports in the country, and more are planned in the coming years. When commercial space flights take off, they'll launch from places like this one. Will buildings like Spaceport America and others one day shuttle paying customers back and forth to space? We can't say for sure, but at one point, the idea of a race to the moon must have seemed pretty daunting as well.
For 10 out of 10, it's not unusual to see the wetlands around Mumbai, India turn pink this time of year. A flamboyance of flamingos, that's what a group of flamingos is called. They migrate to India's second largest city in the winter months to get a bite to eat. But because there's less human activity this time around due to the country's lockdown, it's possible the number of flamingos in 2020 could surpass last year's record of 134,000. And that would set the old high water mark, a flamingo. They don't really cause a flap unless residents want them to flamingo somewhere else. Some appreciate the colorful scene, some say it fits the bill, some say the fun is just pinginning. But for critics, it's for the birds, y'all. I'm Carl Azus. Bethune, France is where we wrap up today's show with the students of St. Dominique High School. Thank you for watching from France and from YouTube.